40-something skater!
Welcome back to the channel, 40-something skater here. So my first day back skating, I had the great idea of practicing ollies by trying to do 50 of them in a row. Immediate disclaimer, don't do that, especially if you're my age and haven't been on a skateboard or even attempted to do an ollie in over 20 years. I'll just let you watch the footage, but I got to about 16 of them and then, well, you'll see. Okay, I just did a bunch of ollies with the skater trainers on my board. Maybe do like a 50 ollie a day workout. I don't know how many I've done so far, maybe 10. So 40 more to go. God help me. Yeah, so I got about 20 ollie attempts in before I couldn't do them anymore because of this excruciating pain that I was feeling in my hip area. Specifically my right hip every time I would try to pop an ollie. And the pain was so bad that I literally could not skate or at least pop an ollie for at least a week. And come to find out, this is actually a fairly common problem among older skaters like me or newer skaters and people in general that are new to this ollie movement. So I want to tell you guys what I did to remedy the situation so I could get back to skating as soon as I could. Now, full disclosure, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a masseuse, I'm not a physical therapist, but I can safely say I've experienced enough muscle and joint pain, and I've seen many of the aforementioned therapists for relief. So the pain I was experiencing was on the front hip area on my right side, which is the side that I pop my tail with. I'm regular footed. To be more specific, I strained the psoas muscle. What is the psoas muscle? It's a muscle or a set of muscles actually that runs from your femur through your pelvis to your lower spine. And how do I know this? Because I've actually strained my psoas multiple times when I used to do CrossFit. You may also experience pain in that area because it's a muscle that gets weak from sitting too much, like at a desk for work or in a car sitting for long hours in rush hour traffic. So basically I had hip pain from overworking or straining the psoas muscle from trying to do too many ollies. Now I should point out that it was my mistake that I didn't warm up or stretch before I attempted these first ollies on my first day back. So that's kind of tip number one to prevent this from happening to you. So number one, warm up and stretch before every session. Kids and younger folks don't really have to worry about this so much. When I skated in middle school and high school, I never stretched, I never warmed up. But if you're like my age or even like 30 years old or older, or if you're inflexible, also me, or just generally not in the greatest shape, I highly encourage you to do just a basic warm-up and stretch routine before every skate session. So this is what I do. 50 jumping jacks just to get the blood and heart going. To target the psoas and hips specifically, I march in place for like 2 minutes, and this is something that I actually learned from Ben DeGrosse, who's a great skateboard YouTuber who you should follow, so I'll put a link down in the description. So the psoas muscle works by flexing the hip joint and lifting the upper leg towards the body. So this makes a great exercise to warm it up as well as strengthen it. As far as stretches for this muscle, the most common is this. All right, so this is the most common psoas stretch that you'll usually find if you Google psoas stretch. Basically, you're going to go into a lunge with your back knee on the floor. So make sure if it hurts, put down like a pad or a yoga mat or something. Sometimes I'll even take like a yoga block just to give it a little bit of lift and cushion. Yeah, just go into this lunge, and what you want to make sure you do is you don't want to lean forward like this because you're not going to feel it. What I do is I actually kind of tilt my pelvis a little bit forward. So I stand up straight and I kind of tilt or move my pelvis a little bit forward, and I can really feel the stretch right here. So I'll usually hold this for maybe 15-20 seconds and then switch sides and do the same thing. So really concentrating on, sitting up straight, but also moving your pelvis forward. You'll definitely feel that stretch. So another thing you can do is on the side that you're stretching the psoas on, sometimes if you raise your hand up straight to the ceiling, you'll get a little bit of a deeper stretch. But also what my chiropractor told me was if you lean back a little bit more, you'll get a deeper stretch. And then if you kind of lean to the opposite side, so the left side, you'll definitely get the biggest stretch. Yeah, that's a good stretch right there. This is good to do before and after skating, but I would avoid this stretch if you feel any pain, especially if you strain the muscle. I would wait till the pain is completely gone and the strain has healed somewhat before trying this stretch. So if you're like me and didn't do any of this warming up and stretching before you started skating, and you've developed pain in your hips and psoas, the first thing to do is totally stop ollieing, stop doing any trick or movement like an ollie that makes the pain hurt even more. And it's a no-brainer. It's your body and your pain receptors telling you, don't do this movement, it hurts. But also, don't make the same mistake that I did. I didn't do any ollies for 3 or 4 days. But actually, I didn't stop skating. I just didn't ollie. I was actually working on no complies, which is going to be another video. But restless me, during one of those sessions, I went for an ollie because I thought I was healed. And just my luck, I re-injured it again. The pain was back and I was out for another week. So I was out for another week. I didn't want to just rest it. I wanted to somehow rehab it and strengthen that area. So what did I do? I actually did a little bit of light stretching and marching just to move blood to that area. I didn't do any ollies because that's sort of like an explosive movement if you think about it. So I made sure all of my movements and stretching was slow and steady and controlled. So if you feel tightness or soreness in the hips and psoas, I like to use either a rumble roller, which is like a foam roller but with bumps, or even like a lacrosse ball to help release some tension in the muscles. Now this can be painful depending on your level or soreness, so make sure you ease into it slowly, and if it hurts, stop doing it. But basically, this is just a way of massaging the tissue and massaging any knots out. I also bought this device a while back called the psoas, which is designed specifically for releasing the psoas muscles, but to be honest, it's slightly uncomfortable and hard to get used to. Plus, it's super expensive for what it is. A simple lacrosse ball is sometimes enough for me. And another thing that I started doing was, because I was not skating for so many years, I lost all of my stabilizing muscles, like in my ankles and my calves. So one of the great ways to kind of strengthen those areas is getting a balance board, and I picked this one up. This is by a company called Voodoo, but it's basically kind of like a skateboard deck, and it's a great way to practice your balance, but it's also a great way that will strengthen your ankles and will strengthen your calf muscles. I do that a little bit every day. I'll actually stand on it while I'm working on the computer or while I'm, talking to people on FaceTime. Already I can tell that I've gotten stronger calf muscles and ankle muscles. So that's something that I do every day just for maybe 5-10 minutes here and there. So basically avoid ollies and ollie related tricks until the muscles are back to normal. Maybe even a day or two longer just to be safe. Warm up and stretch before your first session back and just kind of ease into it. Definitely don't try to do 50 ollies in one go. I learned my lesson. All right, guys, I hope you found this info to be helpful. Thanks again for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos or follow my journey back into skateboarding, make sure you click the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. I'm 40-something skater, and I'll see you in the next video.